What's going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another episode of Breakfast with Perkins. I am, of course, your host, Percocet. Perkins with the gherkins. Anyway, so as you might have guessed from the title of this week's show, I wanted just to go over what I thought would be some fun little things that, first off, what I did was I sent a snap out to people saying, what's something you wish you would have known about adulthood as a kid, or if your future self could tell you something about your adulthood to your prior self, what is something you wish you would have known or, had been told or something like that. So I sent out like 400 snaps, got a really good amount back. A lot of them were the same though, but which we'll go through that. But I just kind of want to go through the list. Maybe you have some things that you wish you would have known about adulthood, and stuff like that. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. But I'm gonna go through them, kind of talk about what my feelings are. Some of them are mine. A lot of them aren't. So we'll just go through them briefly, real quick here, and we'll just see. Maybe you can identify with this. Maybe not. Where the fuck are my? Here we go. Okay. So this one was me personally. How expensive beds are. That was one thing I never understood as a kid. I think as a kid, you just see, you have a bed, your parents got you a bed, but you don't really take into account, beds and, certain types of pillow tops. And it wasn't until I started shopping for a bed that I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, bed, I know you can get beds for like what, $300, $400, $500, but I'm looking at some beds and I'm like, all right, cool. $2,700, $3,100. Yeah, okay, cool. And I'm like, why in the fuck is this so much? Now, maybe I can't justify spending that much on a bed. I would spend that much on a bed just because most people are in a bed 8 hours or more a day. I don't really sleep. I sleep for like 5-6 hours at a time. So spending that much on a bed, I can't really justify that. But if I was one of those people that just slept all the time and you want a good sleep, I could see that. I could see that. I still need to get a bed though. That's the problem. A new bed. But yeah, beds being expensive, that's a crazy one. Something else I don't think people as an adult really think about is their own mortality. I think a lot of people dwell on certain things that are going to be inconsequential to them down the road and that they're here for a very finite amount of time. And it's something I wish maybe as like a kid, that'd be nice to know, hey, you're here for a short amount of time. You can't really you can't really conceive time as a kid though. Because when you're a kid, you got all the time in the world. It's not until you get out of the college age and then shit just keeps going. And then that's when time just flies. And that's another one on the list here is how fast time goes once you're out of the school age. And it does seem that way. It seemed from birth to about 22-ish for me. It was just quick. Everything was just fast. No, that's a lie. Everything was super, super slow. I'm sorry. Everything's super slow. You can't wait to turn 14 to get a permit. That takes forever. Then 16, you get your license. It takes forever to get to that. Then you're 18. And it takes forever to get to that because you're an adult. And then you turn 21, you go out to the clubs. And you're like, fuck, I wish. And then once you hit 21, you've hit really all the milestones you need to. Then it's like, okay, cool. And to me, my 20s, I'll be 34. I'll be 34 the day after this comes out, by the way, when it releases. 24 to me seemed like yesterday. That was a decade ago. Already 10 years down. Optimistically, if I live, till 80? That's pretty optimistic. That's that's already, 15% of my life just in the blink of an eye. It's crazy. That also goes right into the next thing. Something you don't think about when you're young are your parents getting old. And I wish that's something that, again, a lot of these things are things that you really can't really conceive as a kid in your own brain. You can't really comprehend it because you're young. But I guess this could also be like teens. You're a kid until 18. So, but your parents getting old, that's one thing. I remember being a kid and seeing my mom at the age I am now and being like, whew, mom was old. Now I'm that age and I'm looking at my mom like, damn, she's almost 60. She'll be 60 next year. and she'll probably outlive me, but it's one of those things you think about with parents. You're like, how many summers do they have left? You know, in the ideal scheme of things, you outlive your parents. That's what's supposed to happen. Parents should never have to bury their kids. And that's an unfortunate circumstance that does happen to some people. But in an ideal world, yeah, you never have to get buried by your parents. You're the one that buries the parents. And I look at my mom, and she's still very young and just young as ever and acting young. You wouldn't look at her and go, that's a 60-year-old woman. She's all over the place. But, you know, sometimes I think like, God damn, like it's been me and her from the jump. And then one day that's just going to be done. Whether it's me that goes first or her that checks out. One thing that's funny though, and I don't look forward to it, because right now you can tell that there's a mother and son dynamic, or at the very least, one older and one younger. Now, some people like me, like we'll go out and some people think we're dating. Like apparently I prefer cougars. Apparently, I don't know. Not saying my mom's a cougar. That came out completely wrong. No, I'm not saying my mom's a cougar. What I'm saying is if I'm going after older women, that would be what people see. Which is, I'm just like, no, it's my fucking mom. What are you doing? But it's going to get to a point where we're going to be like, when I hit 60 and she's like 85, there'll be no differentiation. We'll just look like two old people. Just two old people pounding around. Or if she hits 90 and I'm what? I don't even know if I had the math right on that. 60, 85. Or if she hits 95 and I'm 70. Yeah, it's just gonna be two old fuckers just fucking around. I don't know. Not looking forward to that though. That's crazy work. One thing someone said was investments. I think this was like 60% of what people said was investments. I will put investments up there. They don't talk, there's a lot of subjects in school that they don't talk about that would be pertinent to growing up and maturing. Pythagorean theorem, not one of them. You know, what the noble gases are, couldn't give a fuck unless I have an idea of a career that I want specifically in that field where I need to know the noble gases. Couldn't give a fuck. But things like investments, high yield savings account, Roth IRAs, and different types of investment funds and retirement plans and stuff like that. That's nothing they teach you, which is interesting because high school, especially your junior, senior year, they're all about, we're preparing you for the future. We want to make sure you're good for the future. And they really don't give you shit about the future. Although all that's really doing is preparing you to adhere to the next level of schooling schedule, which by that point, college, most people pay for college out of pocket anyway, or they get, grants and stuff like that. And they're adults that are doing it. If it's coming out of pocket, you more than likely come from a very affluent family. So that money is really inconsequential to you. If you're getting grants and stuff like that and loans, you either have to pay it back whenever, or it's not money you had to spend anyway if it's a grant or something like that. So who gives a fuck? So yeah, you don't even have to adhere to that stuff. College is optional. What's Thomas said? What's he say? College is like abortions. You have the option. I got to find that clip. But anyway, yeah, it's one of those things. High school really doesn't prepare you for anything except for the 13th grade on up, which would be college. Another one that was on here was college in and of itself. Now, I will say, yes, that is correct. Now, if you're going into a specified field, say some type of doctor or some type of judicial type of lawyer, whatever, government thing where you need to know laws, you need to know, structure, or yeah, I don't want the guy that knows nothing to give me an open heart surgery. I would like it if he would have had some experience before he gets to me, That thing I can understand for schooling, but half this shit you don't need schooling for. Half the shit you could throw most people with half a brain into whatever job field and they're going to pick it up. And then they have certain degrees that you can't even use. I remember when I worked at Wells Fargo, there was a guy, him and his wife both worked there, making the same amount of money I made. I was like 20 or something like that. It was good money for a 20-year-old. And they had been there like a couple years longer than me. So they made a little bit more money, but not a whole lot. And they had 2 kids. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys have 2 kids making slightly more than what I do, but you guys also have school debt. Apparently she had a degree in like ancient civilization and he had a degree in something, none of which were degrees they were using. And they both were combined. It was like 80K in debt. I'm like, how in the fuck are you guys doing that? You guys are 80K in debt doing the same thing I'm doing. Doing the same exact thing I'm doing. Why am I sitting on my hand? Doing the same exact thing I'm doing. Something's off here. So I say this. I understand, yes, college is needed for some things, but it seems like most things that I see people doing out and about is stuff that you could pick up on in the field or don't really need college for. That's just, I don't know. Let's see. What's something you weren't prepared for as an adult that you wish you knew? How insignificant we are. I forget who sent me that, but that is also true. It's kind of a fucked up thing to think of. Everyone seems to think they're important. They are, needed for the world to go round. And when in all reality, there's 8 billion of us on this rock we call Earth that's speeding through the sky around this ball of fire. And all the while that's happening, we're spinning through we're so insignificant. We're significant to the people that we're closest to, yes. But in the grand scheme of things, our existence is but a speck of dust on the timeline of Earth. And timeline. I'm very tired right now. I need sleep, but that's okay. We're very insignificant. And I think one of the greatest ways of feeling how just insignificant we are is just, I love to go outside. I love space. And I just like going outside, looking up into the stars and thinking that goes on forever. It goes on to a point where the human mind can't even comprehend like how far. We don't even know. It just goes on. That's crazy. That just lets you know how insignificant we are. That's crazy stuff. Let's see here. You can't fix broken people. A lot of women sent me this one, but I will completely agree. I feel like this is something that if you learn or are told as a kid and you can internalize it and apply it to whatever, your relationships, the better off you'll be. I know a lot of women that are savers and they like to save men and whatever. I hate that shit. Like someone's doing you wrong on a constant basis and you're all, well, I can save them. Oh, I'm going to give them a chance. No. It's back to the life is short thing. Life is way too short to be out here saving people. You either come correct from the jump or bye. There's no other way. There's no, oh, I could save them. I'll just give them time. No, there's none of that shit. None of that. Absolutely not. Let's see here. Health is wealth. Now, this is something I wish someone would have told me when I was younger that I didn't really internalize until my 20s. But yeah, health is wealth. Usually when we're all teenagers and kids, most of us are pretty healthy. You can recover from injuries a lot quicker. Your metabolism is up. You're active for the most part. All that good stuff. Then you get older, and the need to be active or the need to be active wanes, or the metabolism slows down, or you're just not as physical as you used to be. And then shit happens. And then that shit compounds into bad shit for your 40s, 50s, and 60s. Next thing you know, you're sitting there with an amputated leg and an enlarged heart talking about, I wish I would have figured it out when I was younger. When if you would have started way long ago, you'd be completely fine. Now, I know there are some anomalies that they have exemplary health and they fall over at the buffet line at 53. I understand that, but for the most part, if you take care of yourself, you'll live a nice long life. And that's something I wish that they would ingrain into you when you're younger. Let's see here. What's something you aren't prepared for as an adult? People suck. This is a big one, and this is kind of why I'm for bullying. Not physically. Don't physically touch people, but I think the quicker you can internalize and know that people aren't always out for the positive for you, they're not always going to want the best for you, they're not always going to have something nice to say. I feel like the quicker you're around that and know that, you can then internalize that and say, okay, you know what? Hey, you can approach life with a very realistic view. You don't have the goggles of deception on of, oh, well, yeah, life's this nice, happy, fun time. No, people do suck. People are assholes. People are going to fuck you over, all that stuff. People are going to say unkind things. And that's why today, when you're raising kids and kids in today's society, it's all about safe spaces and participation trophies, and that's doing nothing for them when they get older. That's gonna hinder them, if anything, because everything's all sunshine and farts when they're younger. Then they get older, then it's a complete fucking whoa, like what's going on? I don't want to handle this, It's not helping them in the long run. Like, I was 320 pounds in high school. Now, I didn't get bullied, but people would say some slick shit. But that taught me at an early age that you have to have quick wit, sharp wit. And so someone once in a while would say something and it would be met with swift return to sender energy, but usually a lot worse from my end to them. And it never happened again. And that was something that, I'm glad it happened. I'm glad. Also, when I got bigger, a friend of mine, Noel, shout out to Noel. He's one that doesn't mince words. He doesn't, he'll let you know 100% what it is. And one thing I like about him is no matter how close you are to him, he's going to give you some tough love. So like if you've gained, like there was a time where I was gaining weight at a pretty rapid speed, and he would come up to me, he'd be like, "Look, nigga," he goes, "you're gaining too much weight, man. Like what's going on?" He goes, he goes, "Can you even see your dick anymore? What's going on?" Now, his wordage may not have been the best, but the sentiment behind the words, sometimes you need to hear that. Sometimes that's the fire that you need stoked underneath you to be like, all right, cool. I haven't seen my dick in 5 years. Let me go ahead and get this fucking weight off, and that's what I think people just need some tough love sometimes. And coddling kids at a young age does nothing for them when they grow up. So let's see. Don't grow up too fast. This was another big one that a lot of people said, and I completely agree with this. I can only use myself as an example, but one thing I think that I thoroughly enjoy about myself is I don't allow myself to be too grown up. I got bills and I got priority, typical things that a grown up does, but I do not shy away from giving into the jovial kid-like nature sometimes. I'll go to the park, I'll slide down a slide. I'll put some roller skates on and go skate around. I will, I'll watch some SpongeBob. I do a lot of kid shit, That sounds weird saying out loud. I do a lot of, things that people would associate with. I collect Hot Wheels. I game. I have a Baymax, little plushie over there next to the TV. Yeah, grown man shouldn't be having fucking plushies, but I like it. It's cool. Big Hero 6 was a great fucking movie, by the way. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, just things. I feel like a lot of adults give in to the need to be grown up. Now, again, there are some circumstances in which you have to grow up. You don't have a good support system, or you were abandoned as a kid by the family, or you, whatever it is. There's some circumstances in life in which you're forced to grow up fast. I get that. But if you can afford it, don't grow up fast. Enjoy it, because the shit goes by quick, and that all work and no play mentality, it's great. Yes. But sometimes you just gotta let yourself have it. Is this connected properly? Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Someone said, wait to have kids. Now, this is an interesting one. I don't think people should be having kids super young, because I feel like you still have a lot of maturing to do as someone young. Now, I know all the young, this is always mothers that say this. It's never dads. Well, I had my kids young, so that way my kids will be growing up by the time I'm 30-something. Right. But then by the time you're 30-something, you're trying to relive the time that you lost when you had the kid. So now you're out at the clubs at 40, 42, 43, talking about I'm young again. I don't have kids or anything. That, they're all grown. It's a weird look. That's not all parents, but I've seen it more times than not. That's a really bizarre look. Don't do that. But I would say wait till you're in a place where you're good financially, psychologically, emotionally, physically, to have kids. That's one big thing that's deterred me from having children, was I don't feel like I'm in a place financially to keep the lifestyle that I'm currently living and then provide for another life on top of that. That's also kind of what's kept me out of the whole dating scene. I would love a relationship, but I don't feel financially I'm in a spot to keep the lifestyle I'm currently living, but then also bankroll another lifestyle. I'm not saying I'm going to finance her entire life, but it would be nice to be like, oh, hey, babe, got us tickets to, Turks and Caicos on this date. Grab your shit, whatever. Oh, hey, we're going to Switzerland. Oh, hey, we're going to this festival, whatever. Because now everything's just double. Taking myself, I don't give a fuck. I do that all the time. I'm not worried about it. But taking another soul, that's when the money gets a little iffy. And yeah, I could do it. It wouldn't be an issue. But I just don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like I make enough to do so. So when I get to the point that I do, which I feel will be very soon, then I'll be more apt to want to date and stuff like that. So let's see here. Time flies once you become an adult. We said that. The time you lose having to do adult things. This is a big one, I feel, which is true. Because when you're a kid, you got all the time in the world. Hang out, go to the park, whatever. You really don't have anything to do. But then once you have the family thing and the adult thing going on, then it's okay, I want to do this. But first, got to make sure the kids are good. I got to make sure the wife is good. I got to make sure the dog is good. I got to make sure this is done. It's a whole new level. I'm on a new level to the whole shit. And yeah, I could definitely understand. You're losing time having you do adult things versus the shit you want to do. An adult thing, yes. Invest in crypto. That was like, I got that answer from like 3 people. I was kind of whatever with it, whatever. Because yeah, if anyone could go back, invest in Facebook, invest in Amazon, yeah, we'd all go back in time. And that's kind of like one of those weird canned, I don't see color type answers. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, you do. The fuck was that? I heard like a flutter, like a locust. Satan help me. If there's a locust in here, they should be dead by now. There wouldn't be a locust in here. Let's see here. Value self-worth, but also be cognizant of your worth. Now, that is a huge one. That is something huge they don't really tell you when you're younger. That's kind of something you kind of have to be cognizant of as an adult and be conscious of. Oddly, today, you have a lot of people that think they know their own worth, and then they overinflate what their actual worth is, which is why it's super important to know your worth, but make sure it's a realistic worth. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women in the dating game today, I feel, have that issue where they have this overinflated ego and worth, and then they want the guy making, 6 figures, 10-inch long dong, drives an AMG Benz, you want all this shit, but you're bringing nothing to the table but body heat. You're not deserving of any of that. And then a guy that does have that ain't checking for you. You're a good-looking chick with a fat ass. You don't think you can't get that anywhere else? And have her actually doing shit that's going to contribute to the relationship? That's problematic. Let's see here. And the last one I'll do here, there's a whole list of them here. I'll have to do this in parts. Last one here. Chasing women ain't worth it. Chase the money and the women will come. That is huge. I feel like in your 20s, you can chase the women and the money. There's not really any differentiation between the two. You do what you want. It's fine. But I've realized in the 30s, the chasing women thing, especially with the dating culture today, it's a very uphill battle. However, I've noticed that you get your money right, you get your health and body right, and the women will naturally come. It'll be effortless. That would be something if I could talk to my younger self or anyone younger than me. Make sure your money and your health are good. You're in shape, you can speak well. You got everything in order. You got stuff going on. I'm not saying be a fucking multimillionaire by the time you're 30. I'm not saying that, but just make sure you got the steps in play. I didn't learn all this until I didn't get all this in order till 31, age 30, 31. It took me way late. I was fucking around in my 20s and wasn't really heeding my own advice of today. But that would be one thing I would say. Yes, make sure your money and health are in order, and the rest will happen. it'll be effortless. So a woman can pick up on that. If a dude has a plan, or a dude is got a what's the word I'm looking for? He's got a he's competent. He's got a plan for what he wants in life. There's a lot of good women out there that can sense that. They don't need a guy making six figures driving the G-Wagon. They just want to see a guy has competence. They just want to see that the guy is capable in doing what he says and follows through with what he's going to do. And a lot of women can pick up on that. And if they can see, okay, yeah, he's got his money going. He takes care of himself. Let's see what's going on here. And it's fish in a barrel at that point. I don't know how long I've gone. I think it's probably 20 some minutes. I don't know. I should go for an hour. A lot of podcasts go for an hour. Riffing by yourself for an hour, though, is pretty difficult to do. Props to Bill Burr, because he does it every week, and I don't know how he does it. I mean, I'm sure I could go for an hour, but to do it week in, week out consistently, I couldn't do it. So shout out to him. But you know what, guys? I'm going to land the plane there. Let me know what your thoughts and feedback are on this. We got through maybe about a fifth of the list there. Maybe I was talking too much through them. I don't know. But also, let me know how the video is on this, because I'm shooting this in 4K. Usually I do 1080p just because it's quicker. And it looks fine. But I'm doing 4K on this one just because I just want to see how the computer handles 4K. It should handle it just fine. I'll see how long the difference in render time is between this and 1080p. So, but let me know how it is. I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you guys next week.